Hello friends, this is Roxanne, and today, I'm going to recap the second part of the anime called Demon Slayer Season 2. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. Enmu stands on the locomotive on the Mugen train, and mutters to himself about lucky they are to die while sleeping. He tells of how humans are all the same, demon slayers or not, they are led by their heart, their spiritual core. Once destroyed, they're trapped in a sleep they can never awaken from again. He senses that Tanjiro continues to fall deeper into his slumber as he dreams he is reunited with his family. As Zenitsu falls deeper into his sleep, he dreams he is in a peach tree forest, with Nezuko as his girlfriend. He carries her on his back when she claims she cannot swim a river and they traverse the mountains with his thunder breathing. Inosuke dreams he is leading a cave expedition, accompanied by Nezuko, Tanjiro, and Chuitsu as his underlings. They encounter the beast that is the Mugen train in the cave and proceed to charge ahead to attack it. Rengoku dreams he is at the Rengoku estate, sitting before his father Shinjuro to tell him of his promotion into a Hashira. Shinjuro dismisses his news and calls it worthless, adding that he believes Rengoku would never amount to anything, as does he. Rengoku walks out and sees his brother Senjuro, who asks about their father's answer, believing maybe he could be acknowledged as well if he becomes a Hashira. Rengoku mutters to himself that his father never acted as such in the past. He once held the mantle of Flame Hashira but unexpectedly quit, and he too was once enthusiastic about training him. Rengoku refuses to dwell in this and instead encourages Senjuro that despite their father's lack of acknowledgement, he will continue to be proud and passionate. Senjuro tears up when his brother mentions he has him as moral support. The four children tasked by Enmu manage to enter their dreams, enabled by a rope made of his blood demon art. Enmu explains the dream world contains a border to the realm of the subconscious, and they can pass it once they enter the dream and locate its edge, instructing them to destroy their spiritual cores to cripple them. The girl tasked with Rengoku finds the edge and crosses the border with an awl made with Enmu's bone. As she traverses the unusually hot and fiery realm of subconsciousness, she manages to locate his spiritual core. When she moves in to destroy it, Rengoku suddenly grabs her throat whilst both are still unconscious, causing the girl in the realm to be crippled and unable to move. She becomes stunned and amazed at his incredible survival instincts despite being fully asleep. Tanjiro plays with Rockde while his mother Ki decides to make them rice crackers as a treat. Takeo becomes annoyed and too wants rice crackers, causing Hanako and Shigeru to add that they themselves want some as well. Meanwhile, the boy tasked with Tanjiro has entered the dream and overhears the Kamados. Outside, Tanjiro chops down wood for a fire, but when he fills the basket and begins walking home, he mutters, "Nezuko, let's go." Suddenly confused at his words, he looks back at his basket. He returns home and enters the living room, before looking around and asking on Nezuko's whereabouts. Takeo answers she went out to pick vegetables, causing him to grow worried since it's day. The concern confuses his siblings, but before he can explain, Ki asks him to fetch water for a bath. As he walks to the river, he tries to make sense of his unusual remarks. While doing so, he unexpectedly sees Nezuko's box in the corner of his eye but it vanishes when he takes a closer look. Dismissing it as simply a toolbox, he reaches the river and fills his buckets. Suddenly, he sees his reflection warning him to wake up. It pulls him into the water and claims he is under attack, causing Tanjiro to realize he truly is still on the train and asleep. The reflection begs him to wake up and fight, causing him to return to his home. In the living room, Tanjiro is now fully aware he is in a dream but is unable to see a way to escape. On the train, Nezuko falls out her box and sees Tanjiro and the demon slayers all unconscious. She sees Tanjiro whispering he needs to wake up and tries numerous ways to do so, before she grows frustrated and headbutts her brother to awaken him. Failing to do so and bleeding from the impact, she begins to cry and tearfully tries again, causing her blood demon art to activate. In the dream, Tanjiro becomes engulfed in Nezuko's flames, to the confusion and worry of his siblings. He smells her blood and becomes covered in more fire, regaining his Demon Slayer uniform and Nichiren blade, realizing he is slowly waking up. Takeo and Hanako ask if he is alright. Tanjiro answers that he needs to leave and apologizes. Running out the house, he sprints into the woods, believing he needs to find a demon within the forest. To his shock, he hears Nezuko asking where he is going. Having returned with a platter of vegetables, hearing her voice again, he begins to tear up, whilst his family arrives to question him. Ki asks if he is alright, but he doesn't answer. Instead, he wishes he could stay here. As his voice begins to break, he wishes he could go back and by all rights, he is meant to do so, returning to his life of making charcoal and looking after his family. If it never happened, they would all still be alive and Nezuko still human. Instead, he walks on ahead to leave them, accepting their deaths and that he could never be with them again. Seeing his oldest brother leaving, Rockta cries out to him and tries to chase him, causing Tanjiro to cry and apologize that they can never be together again. He runs out further, whispering they will always be in his heart no matter what. Meanwhile, the boy who entered his dream crosses into his realm of subconsciousness but finds it unusually calm and peaceful. Outside the train, Enmu becomes confused that the children seem to be taking a while, since none of the spiritual cores have been destroyed yet, but doesn't dwell on it. Tanjiro realizes he is trapped in the dream but senses the scent of a demon in the air, wondering how he will save everyone. Suddenly, he is met by his father Tanjiro, who appears for a moment and tells him to take up his blade, as there is something he needs to cut. He unsheathes his sword and realizes what he must do to wake up and escape the dream. Stealing his resolve and positioning the blade, he yells out and pushes the sword into his neck. As Tanjiro positions his Nichirin sword at his neck, the boy in his realm of subconsciousness becomes guided by figments of his spirits. They lead him to the spiritual core but he becomes unwilling to destroy it. Tanjiro pushes the blade in and the realm of subconsciousness opens as he begins to awaken from his dream. The boy falls into the abyss but Tanjiro's spirit saves him. The girl tasked with Inosuke's dream becomes lost in his realm of subconsciousness, a dim and creepy cave. She is subsequently chased by an animalistic Inosuke. The boy tasked with Zenitsu is stuck in his realm of subconsciousness, a pitch-black emptiness he gets lost in. He hears the clap of metal getting closer and see an angry Zenitsu, menacingly wielding a pair of garden shears, angered at the parasite invading his dream. Zenitsu gives chase and shreds the boy's clothes. Tanjiro finally slashes his throat and wakes up. He realizes Nezuko is safe but sees his fellow demon slayers still asleep, as well as the children tied to their wrist. He notices his own wrist with a burnt rope, giving off the scent of a demon. He remembers the punched ticket and smells it too, confirming they fell into a blood demon art. Tanjiro tasks Nezuko with burning the ropes but he fails to awaken Zenitsu or Inosuke. Suddenly, he is attacked by the girl tasked with Rengoku's dream, armed and trying to stab him with her awl. Angered at her chance at a dream ruined, she is joined by Zenitsu's and Inosuke's attempted killers. She notices the boy tasked with Tanjiro and urges him to, but he doesn't respond. Tanjiro knocks all his attackers unconscious but apologizes for denying them their dreams, as he sadly mentions he wanted to stay in his too. The remaining boy meets him and explains how his soul had saved him, thanking him as he regrets his willingness to hurt him to escape his illness. Tanjiro walks outside and becomes repulsed at the strong demonic scent in the wind. He climbs up and confronts Enmu. Enmu is stunned at Tanjiro awakening from his dream, commenting he could have shown him one where his family dies or a dream where he meets his father still alive. Enmu mutters to himself about his joy of witnessing the pained faces of someone experiencing a nightmare, as well as noting the more complex process he used for this specific blood demon art. With the tickets punched containing his blood, his victims would fall asleep quickly and the act unnoticed. But he becomes perplexed at how Tanjiro had managed to wake up. Angered at Enmu tampering with his family memories, Tanjiro confronts him for intruding into his soul. Enmu sees his Hanafuda earrings and becomes overjoyed that his target came to him, happy he can now claim more of Muzan's blood. Tanjiro uses water-breathing 10th form constant flux and charges forward. Enmu responds with blood demon art whispers of forced unconscious hypnosis and hits him, forcing him to lose consciousness. Tanjiro suddenly awakens and attacks, forcing Enmu to dodge his slashes and using his blood demon art continuously. Tanjiro regains consciousness each time, making Enmu realize that Tanjiro is continually committing suicide to awaken each time. Enmu forces Tanjiro into a dream once more, only to be a nightmare with his bloody family and resurrected father angered at him being the only survivor of the massacre. Instead of being afraid, Tanjiro becomes furious and declares they would never say that. He leaps into the air and decapitates Enmu with constant flux. Though he successfully decapitates Enmu, Tanjiro becomes concerned that killing him was too simple. His suspicions prove correct when Enmu's head grows flesh and adheres to the Mugen train's carriage. Enmu mocks him for believing he had succeeded. As he happily mentions that while Tanjiro and the other demon slayers slept, he had fused with the entire train. With the 200 passengers at his mercy, Enmu challenges Tanjiro to save them by himself from being devoured. Realizing he can only protect 2 cars in the least, Tanjiro begs his comrades to wake up. At that moment, Nezuko succeeds in waking Inosuke, who bursts from the roof reinvigorated and declares himself Lord Inosuke. He jumps into the now fleshy, demonic train carriage and slices the pieces with beast breathing, 5th form crazy cutting. After failing to kill Enmu, Tanjiro is left to save the 200 passengers at his mercy. Inosuke awakens and joins the battle. Enmu's flesh begins to infest the Mugen train's carriages and tentacles form to kill the passengers. Inosuke springs to action and cuts them all with his beast-breathing 5th form crazy cutting. Outside, more ingrowths form and attack Tanjiro, forcing him to retreat inside and see the extent of Enmu's assimilation with the train. He tries to use the water-breathing 1st form water surface slash to cut them down, but the tentacles continue to grow. Enmu becomes pleased that Tanjiro is exerting himself to cut something he can always heal and hopes his depleted stamina will make them all easy prey. Nezuko grows her size and battles the tentacles to save the sleeping passengers. Using her claws and legs, she initially fends them off until they overwhelm and restrain her. Suddenly, Zenitsu appears and saves her, using his thunder-breathing 1st form thunderclap and flash 6-fold and cutting all the tentacles in the carriage instantly. Tanjiro hears the attack and surmises Zenitsu has awakened, though he is still dealing with the regenerating tentacles. Rengoku, now awake, witnesses the demonic appearance of the train and grows ashamed as a Hashira, before attacking with intense force, startling Enmu. Tanjiro sees Rengoku, who had slashed the train and damaged it enough to force Enmu to take time and heal. Rengoku informs him of the plan. He himself will guard the 5 rearmost cars while Zenitsu and Nezuko will protect the other 3. Whereas he along with Inosuke will look for the demon's head, telling him no matter what form he takes, Enmu's head is somewhere. With that, Rengoku rushes out and goes to the back. Tanjiro praises him for his quick thinking before telling Inosuke the plan. Inosuke informs him he already knows, adding his annoyance that Rengoku had ordered him and considering him awesome still. He also tells Tanjiro the head is located near the front, prompting him to leap onto the roof and join him. Inosuke cuts the front car's roof and lands. He sees a conductor but ignores him to look around for the head. Multiple tentacles sprout and grab him until Tanjiro appears and cuts them all with water-breathing 6th form whirlpool. Attacking nearing his head causes Enmu to shriek and shake the entire train. Inosuke slices the floor with beast-breathing 2nd form slice, revealing Enmu's neck bone. Tanjiro attempts to cut it with his water-breathing 8th form waterfall basin, but flesh grows, protecting it from the slash. It forms many new tentacles and spreads out, forcing Tanjiro to take the conductor and retreat to the 2nd train car. The flesh grows rapidly and forms a ring around the front car while protecting the neck bone. Tanjiro tells Inosuke to coordinate their breathing together but eyes appear in front of them. Enmu's new blood demon art, Eyes of Forced Unconscious Sleep, activates and hits them both, causing Tanjiro to slash his neck again in his dream. Though he awakens, the eyes open and hit him again, cursing himself for falling under again. He kills himself again and leaps towards the neck bone. The eyes open again, forcing him to commit suicide again. Tanjiro continues to get hit and kill himself until he positions the blade near his neck despite the eyes being closed, before he can kill himself for real. Inosuke stops him and tells Tanjiro not to die a lame death. Inosuke, unaffected due to his mask, starts slashing the eyes. Tanjiro realizes the mask prevents Enmu from gauging his line of sight. The conductor suddenly appears, armed with a bone awl. Before he can stab Inosuke, Tanjiro jumps in and takes the blow to his stomach. He knocks the conductor unconscious but Inosuke angrily tells him to leave him to die. Tanjiro refuses to do so but more tentacles grab both of Inosuke's blades. Realizing they will not survive without decapitating the demon, they begin to move forward with the plan. Larger tentacles form and sprout many arms to grab the 2 demon slayers. Though they dodge and slash them away, the tentacles slam down onto the train, forcing Tanjiro and Inosuke to leap into the air to safety. Working in tandem, the 2 slice the tentacles down to the bottom to slow their fall but the eyes appears once more. Before the blood demon art can activate, Inosuke slashes them and leaps down to the neck bone, preventing Enmu from seeing his eyes. Using his beast-breathing 4th form slice and dice, He cuts away the surrounding flesh and exposes the bone. Tanjiro plummets down and prays his father protect him, as his breathing begins to ignite in fire. Using the Hinokami Kagura, clear blue sky, he successfully severs Enmu's neck bone, decapitating him. Enmu becomes terrified at his impending death and tries to grab the passengers with his arms to kill them. Rengoku thwarts his attempt and cuts his flesh away with his flame breathing. Enmu's flesh detaches from the train, but the impact forces the train to derail at high speed. And this brings the anime to an end. Comment for part 3. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on another video. Until next time, take care.